Fleck. This broadcast has been a presentation of the National Hockey League and the Altitude Sports Radio Network.
KKSE FM HD1. Denver, Colorado. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. It's Kreckman and Lindahl.
Down by 1, 16 and a half to go in the second period. Dump into 10 goes right to Minnesota. 3-on-2 the other way. Trailer is favored. Right down Broadway, he scores. I mean, if you're going to have a free range like that, it's probably going to go in. The Avalanche, an absolute nightmare in their own zone.
That was misery, sorrow, drudgery. Give me some other adjectives there. Just, yeah, that was brutal. Let's say that.
Here's Nate and Andy, driven by Colorado Off-Road.
Felt like Sean Payton was doing an impression of Connor McGahey calling that game right there.
Connor was not psyched.
He had the disappointed dad voice for most of that broadcast today. Avalanche fall 3-1 to the Wild. Nathan MacKinnon scored the lone goal for the Avs, but their arch rivals, the Wild, come in and get the victory today despite a nice victory over the weekend against Dallas. Avs don't get it done today. They got the peg coming in tomorrow, Andy. And,
great. That's gone well.
That's right. And then we go 3-game East Coast swing coming up after that for the Avalanche. So Winnipeg will be the next opponent for your Avalanche. Welcome in, everybody. It is the Kreckman and Lindahl Show. We are with you here on a Monday, holiday Monday, so we're a little bit late getting to you here today because there was matinee hockey, disappointing as it may have been. Jeff Legwall joins the show today at 3:20. 5:20, Marcus Camby will be with us here on the Kreckman and Lindahl Show. We'll be talking to the erstwhile Nuggets big man, legendary Nuggets big man. Can we call him that?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been accused of hyperbole in that department before in the past, but I feel as though we can go with that with Marcus Camby. He was an NBA Defensive Player of the Year as a Nugget.
He was.
That's legendary stuff right there.
Here's what's impressive. We're going to go back an hour and interview Lake. So
Yes.
I'm excited for that.
Yes.
You had said 3:20.
Did I really?
So we're going to get, we'd like our 3:20.
Yeah,
apparently the way that third period
we weren't
went,
here at
everybody
3:20.
would have been better if we just got on at 3 o'clock.
4:20.
And you didn't hear that.
Yeah, 4:20 Legwald, 5:20 Camby is the rundown there
I want to go
today.
back to 3:20.
You would prefer that? That was
Give it a go.
We were all younger. We were all happier.
Yeah, well, I know this at 3:20. Well, that might not be right. I
Uh-huh.
was going to say at 3:20, the Wild did not pump 2 in real quick. But I don't think that's correct. I think as I got out of my car here at about 3:10, that call that Spring played, that Connor had yelled that.
By the
Connor
way,
was not psyched.
Speaking of Wayne's World, my kids have gotten addicted to the song Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Yeah.
And it is on freaking repeat. Okay, we're just constantly listening to it. So anyway, we were like, oh, you dig this? So then we showed them, the scene from Wayne's World. We pulled it up on YouTube. Oh, you'll dig this. And here's all these funny dudes, and they're singing the song, and it's a good time. And which prompted my daughter, who is now 7, to be like, can we watch the whole movie? No, you can't.
No, we're not there yet.
You can watch that
sweetie.
scene. It's also funny because in the middle of that scene, they pick up their highly inebriated friend.
Yeah.
Remember, if you're going to spew into this. And they've asked me before, what's wrong with him? He's sick. He's got a stomach ache.
I just want, and I think they do it in the movies. I know they did it in the bit. I just need Sammy walking around going, swing. That we all need.
We just,
with the full swivel.
Abby, so Abby got a copy of Cowboy Carter on vinyl, and it's got a giant two-sided Beyonce poster inside of it, and it's pretty good. I gotta say. And so we were looking through the album artwork and everything the other day, and I pulled it out and I unfolded it, and Sammy was entranced. Man, that was his. I think it was his first swing moment. I think.
Well, let's see now.
It was big time, and then I folded it up and put it away, and he was like, "No, get that back out. I like that."
He's like, hang it right here in the house.
We should just
in the entryway.
We can cover the television with it. I'd rather look at that than anything Sesame Street is telling me.
Yeah. How old's Sammy now? 4?
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah,
on his way.
He's almost 4, but he knows what he likes.
Sure. Yeah.
And what he likes is Beyonce.
Sammy, you got plenty of time for that to break your heart.
Don't you worry, my friend.
Just go ahead and get some G.I. Joes in first. Keep life simple as long as you can.
Oh, we got championship games all over the place, Andy. We got Philly and Washington. We got, stop me if you've heard this before, the Chiefs. And they will take on the Buffalo Bills. Jeff Legwold coming up here in just a few minutes. We're going to break down those matchups with Leggy. We have a Avalanche loser today. We had a good Nuggets weekend in Florida. We'll dive into all of that coming up today on the show. And obviously, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Tonight, there is a national championship to be played for with Ohio State, a 9-point favorite this evening. Should be a gigantic pile of fun. We'll get you set for that matchup as well. Jeff Legwold to give you an idea who are the guys to be taking a look at in that game regarding the NFL draft. So we'll do all that coming up in just a few minutes. It's Monday. We're here. Better late than never. Kreckman and Lindahl, thanks.
Hey guys, Andy Lindahl here for my friends over at Colorado Off-Road. Well, it was freezing all weekend long. What did you do about getting into the vehicle prior? Would you like a remote start to get that thing warmed up before you have to get in it? Believe me, it makes a huge difference, and you can get one over at Colorado Off-Road. Whether it's truck or 4x4 accessories, they've got it. They can help you out with stuff like that, bed covers, step rails, heated seats. This is the time of year I probably ought to be talking about the heated seats that they can do for you. I'm thinking about that right now because, frankly, I am tired of not having the spoil that is heated seats. But all the stuff can be found there at Colorado Off-Road. If you have a part or accessory that you're thinking about, maybe you're looking at something like a bed cover, you want some advice as to what to do, they've got great display models to show you how each one is different for something like that. Also with the step rails, the difference between just static and power, where those things tuck up, all that kind of stuff. Go on by their showroom. It's 3 blocks south of downtown Littleton on Prince Street. Say hello to both Jerry and Wendy. Tell them that you heard it on Altitude Sports Radio. And you know what? You need a bed cover. Just say that regardless. Go on by, whatever you need. They'll help you out. Find them at COOffroad.com. Give them a call at 303-761-1264. Colorado grown, Colorado owned. It's Colorado Off-Road.
Yeah, it is Jeff Legwold time here on a Monday afternoon. Jeff Legwold brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 68. You start with a job and you end with a career. There is much to cover with Jeff Legwold here today. We've got conference championship games set. We've got a coaching carousel continuing to spin. And, oh, by the way, we got a national title game tonight. So much to dive into. But let's start here, Leggy. 7 consecutive AFC championship games in the age of parity and cap restrictions and everything else. What Reed and Mahomes and Kelsey have done together and what this Chiefs group has done in this very time, how impressive is this? How hard is it to do what they have done?
Well, we've seen how hard it is. Look, locally. One wild card trip and 9 seasons. I mean, it's what they've done is, they found, drafted, discovered, and cultivated the alpha. The league alpha is always where you start to look for the best teams, and they have them. But, there's been great quarterbacks throughout the history of the league who've not flourished like this because the structure around him wasn't good enough, but they have it all. They've got the structure around them. They've handled the cap issues you have when you have a championship team. They've drafted well, which I think, again, the local team should pay attention to. And they do the basic things right. I don't think we give them enough credit for doing the fundamental things right in the big moments. Nate, they haven't turned the ball over since week 12, and we talk about all these analytics we have, but the 4 winners this weekend were +9 in turnovers total. And I love numbers as much as anyone. I love diving into those, but in playoff football, there may be no bigger number than turnovers. And then penalties, drops, all the little mistakes, they don't make them. And that's what the great teams do.
How is the league, though, going to deal with, or maybe they just won't, but deal with the perception? I mean, DeMeco Ryans was pretty voiced his frustration with the late hits on Patrick Mahomes. I guess, Leggy, I think the fans' problem, I'm not necessarily even saying that. Now, the one call where the 2 guys came together, that's where you got to get some replay in there and get a look at it. Because, look, in live action, I understand why the refs called what they called. But if you get a look at it and you see the guy ducked out and 2 guys hit each other, we got to be able to fix that. What I guess I don't understand, how does the league not have it at least a bit? It just doesn't feel like it's consistent when you watch the other games and guys are getting blown up and stuff like that. How do they solve that problem so that maybe more coaches aren't popping off about the credibility of things?
Coaches have been popping off about that for decades. I mean, that's just the way it is. If you don't win, you're going to pop off because you're going to think that flag wasn't deserved or that, people were saying the same thing about Brady got preferential treatment. Manning got preferential treatment. It's always, I covered teams where the preferential treatment they thought Manning got drove them berserk. This isn't a new problem, and it's always been that way with whoever the alpha team is, because people want them out. They want them gone, and it rankles everyone that they're not. And I think the one where I would have difficulty if I'm at the league's officiating office, I'd really want to discuss quarterbacks trying to sort of lure people into the hits, slowing down and letting people catch up, like receivers do to get a pass interference. That's the kind of stuff I don't think, should be allowed to flourish. And, they let they didn't throw the flag in that game a couple times. And I thought that was a good thing, but that is something quarterbacks do. But I don't think there's any question that quarterbacks who run are never given the same love by the officials as the pocket guys do. And that's always been my beef with it. But this isn't a new argument. We can't pretend this started with the Chiefs. And I think it's a little shallow to say they win because of it. But that's, again, I've always fought unless the call or non-call is made like in the last 3 snaps of a 1-score game, I have real difficulty saying people don't have enough snaps to fix their beefs with officiating in the game.
Along those lines, by the way, speaking of officiating, the Keon Coleman play that happened, are wide receivers today, are they coached, I don't want to say to commit offensive pass interference, but basically, if you do, you then get to put the onus on the official to decide who to then throw the flag on. And really, like, why not coach your receivers to just be as overly aggressive, as physical, as borderline as possible, because the flag's probably going to go your way anyway.
Well, I mean, defensive coaches do the same thing.
Yeah.
They coach with the idea they're not going to flag them all. And there's no greater example in the history. In fact, they changed the rule. When the Patriots beat the greatest show on turf in the Super Bowl, there may have been more pass interference non-calls in that game than in any game I've ever covered, seen, been to, ever, at any level. So, yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I'm not sure you can totally fix that as long as you're going to have, humans officiating the game. But, yeah, it's coached both ways. It's like the flop in soccer. You're not going to get them all, but you may get one that counts at some point, and that is coached into the game these days. And unless you're going to review every play, I don't know how you can get all of the repairs people want, and then they would be mad because the game would take about 6 hours.
Well, part of me just do the thing where the guy on the video board says, hey, that's what it was, let's let it go. But I'm with you there. Is Saquon Barkley the greatest free agent since Peyton Manning? I asked Nate this last week, and you're laughing, but I'll tell you what, man, the Eagles are nowhere without that guy. They're the same soap opera mess from a year ago without that guy.
If you're the Giants, I mean, you're crying at night. Look at the choices you made. We're going to keep the quarterback and get rid of Saquon. And, it's like the Cowboys. They're going to watch Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn,
Gosh, I didn't think about that. You're right.
Coaching in the conference championship game. So, I mean, it's Barkley is one of the greatest. And I personally on a football level, I love that people have seen, this notion you're just going to throw all the time and running doesn't matter anymore. I like that the good teams, the good offenses have shown that not to be the case, because I'm a little weary of, we continually celebrate the wide open, throw it every down, and then those teams don't win, and we never bring it up again. We just wait for our next fantasy season and, tally up the touchdowns, because the real world playoffs continue after the fantasy playoffs are done.
I love fantasy football. That's Jeff Legwold, everybody. He's joining us on the Ramos.
I do too, because a lot more people care about football than used to. But you know what I'm saying? I like that. I like that physicality, I guess, has been important the last couple of years, and it was really important this year, and it was really important this weekend.
Jeff on the Ramos Law Hotline. Car accident, you need Ramos Law, medical doctor and attorney. Visit ramoslaw.com. I mean, along those lines, and let's stay on the physicality there for a moment, is the version of Josh Allen that plays pretty mistake-free football, basically completely mistake-free football, is that guy unstoppable? Can even Kansas City get that guy if he doesn't make any mistakes next week?
Yeah, I mean, you're left with tough choices. If you choose to hem him in, he's far more advanced in his game, and he can take you apart on the outside when you do that. And if you don't hem him in, then he just does whatever he wants. And he is a lot to deal with. And again, I think the teams that have done the best against him, it's an old way of thinking, but I think limiting possessions, unless you just think you're going to score every time against the Buffalo defense, I think limiting possessions is a pretty quality way to steer clear. But it's hard to rush them aggressively, because even if you get there, if you blitz a corner, say, which is often a great way to get to a quarterback, that guy doesn't get him on the ground. If you blitz a safety, that guy may not get him on the ground. If you blitz a linebacker, that guy may not get him on the ground, even if they get there. So he's a dynamic, physical, power arm guy who now knows how to play the game.
Who is the next coach hired with Ben Johnson off the board to Chicago?
How about the Bears hiring Ben Johnson without a face-to-face meeting? I mean, we have seen the ultimate progress in the Zoom world in all of this. I mean, I couldn't have imagined a team not hiring a coach without a face-to-face meeting at any point in the past, but that's what happened here. I think a lot of people in the league are saying, sort of any decision on Aaron Glenn will start the wheels moving on some of these other jobs, that when he decides or he is hired, then that'll be the bigger domino that falls. And, the Cowboys are doing their own thing. Apparently they're like interviewing all the candidates that haven't really been on a lot of other teams' mind. And that's not right or wrong, but it just shows you that they really do their own thing down there.
I think Aaron Glenn is very much ready. That said, his game plan the other night against Jaden Daniels, they have lived by that. We are gonna be blitz heavy. We're gonna play man. We're gonna play aggressive. It doesn't matter how many DBs we lose. We are gonna continue to play that way. And instead of ever adjusting and sitting back soft, Tom Brady was exhorting them to please do that on the telecast. They stayed aggressive the whole way, and Jaden Daniels just picked them apart. Yes, they turned the ball over, but how much did that defensive game plan really damage them against Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels the other night?
I certainly don't want to swim upstream against the guy who won 7 Super Bowls, but I'm not sure they had any personnel left to do anything with any great regularity. And I guess in that situation, if I'm the coordinator, I'm aggressive in the rush and probably play some zone behind it. But against a quick trigger quarterback who knows what he's doing, that's a recipe for an 80% completion day. So I'm not sure Aaron Glenn had a right answer. After they lose the corner early in the game, Robertson had been such a key part of what they've done the last few weeks. And when he left the game, I'm not sure Aaron Glenn had many right answers, frankly.
Do you think any of Tom Brady's in-game commentary swung Ben Johnson to the Bears, since a few people in Vegas could talk about is how he was going to go there?
Well, again, just whether it's gossip or not, but I was told by a friend of mine in the league who said that the general understanding is that Ben Johnson spent tons of time with Tom Brady on these remote meetings, just talking about what the offense would look like or what they both like in an offense. And I think Ben Johnson and his agent and his family or whoever else is around him just basically decided Caleb Williams is a better quarterback than anybody the Raiders are going to have. And I think, maybe the decision's more technical than that, but I don't think it was.
$13 million a year helps, as Nate found. $13 million will get you off the couch, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty
good tasty, starting paycheck, isn't it?
Pretty tasty promotion, but there's a lot of offensive talent in the skill positions with the Bears. Offensive line needs a ton of work, but first-time head coach as a play caller, that's you better think that through on how all that's going to look, and your choice as defensive coordinator is immensely important. And you should probably have an assistant head coach around you who's done it before.
Jeff Legwold of ESPN, obviously draft expert as well. Leggy, if Jeremiah Smith was not a freshman, but was indeed entering this NFL draft, where do you think he would be selected?
He'd be in my top 3 in my top 100. I know that.
Yeah.
I can't say he'd be 1 right now, but he's ridiculous. That physically, technically, I mean, he's some of these receivers have been in 7-on-7 camps, since they were in elementary school, and the route running's at another level with the top guys right now than it was 15 years ago when I was evaluating these guys. But his physicality is what he's a big receiver with small guy agility, and the hands are stupid. I mean, it's just, wherever they put him together, go get some more of those if you're an offensive play caller.
Tell you what, since Nate took us here, between Notre Dame and Ohio State, give us a couple guys that might make real good additions to the Broncos locker room.
Well, I like both the Ohio State backs, and pick a Notre Dame linebacker, and I think you're pretty safe at either one of those spots. But those are very strengths in on those rosters. But that's where I would go with those 2 teams.
Yeah, well, $20 million roster. It's working out for Ohio State. Leggy, who do you like tonight, the Buckeyes or the Irish?
Hard to deny the Buckeyes' talent. I think the Irish need an early turnover.
Yeah.
Because that when in the games where Ohio State's been wobbly, people have gotten to Will Howard, or at least, made him uncomfortable. So, and Notre Dame's got Al Golden calling defensive plays, and that guy's been around the NFL a long time. He knows how to get under a quarterback's skin. So I think an early turnover or 2 for the Irish is their ticket to get the win. But if you let Ohio State get in that we're going to throw early and run late type of situation, then they're putting some hurt on you.
By the way, Leggy, I guess we should ask you a Bronco question. What are you hearing on the hot special teams coaching carousel right now? Sounds like Ben Johnson's hot to trot to get Rizzy there in Chicago. That's what Shefty is reporting right now. Could that potentially get some friction going? Could the Walmart folks get their hackles up, get into a bit of a special teams coach bidding war?
That's right. Make it happen. You don't see special teams coach bidding wars very often.
It's time they start.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Dennis Allen may go there too. All of Sean's friends may be headed north to his old hometown.
But special teams. I just don't know that. He's got to have something in mind. I know they'll give sort of a long look at moving Chris Banjo up the ladder. Now, will that be one slot to assistant special teams coach, or all the way? I don't know that, but
could Westhoff come back, or is Westhoff done? Could they do the same thing with Westhoff and Banjo? Have you ever played a banjo?
No, I've never played a banjo, but I think Westhoff was retiring for health reasons because he had significant health reasons. I'd be surprising to me if that somehow was a return engagement, but that I think the Cowboys special teams coach had a lot of interest around the league, but he's already picked a spot. So
he's going to Indy.
What's that?
And he going to Indy?
Yeah. So I think that's one of the things that he may have given that a look, but there's no way he didn't have something in mind when they made the move.
Any potential for a Bronco Levo return to Denver?
That wasn't a great engagement at the time. So,
so you don't think the 22 Janos guy is coming back? Okay.
Yeah, give me the 22 Janos, and he could drop some fluent Italian on you. So that was always a good thing.
What about a little Bill Bates? Let's get old Bill Bates back in the mix. Remember Bill Bates, Cowboys special teamer? Just make him a coach. Why not that?
Remember some special teams guys.
Some Keith Burns. I'm out of special teams names after that, by the way.
Got Don Beebe in there?
Yeah, a little Don Beebe for you, huh?
You're gonna rock all the great special teamers of all time.
Well,
hey, get in the hunt here on a Monday afternoon, Leggy. Jeff Legwold, everyone, ESPN. Get him on Twitter, obviously. Follow him right there. Also, he'll be starting the draft preparations because that's what he does at this
He's
time
going
of
to
year.
the Senior Bowl next week. He's already out of town.
He's got big work. Plus, he's got to follow a special teams coaching carousel. There's a lot going on.
You going to go
man?
stake out DIA for the candidates coming in?
Right. Get the 30.
Yeah.
Get the 30 visits.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring the poster out so you can match a face to a name out there at DIA. Jeff Legwold, everyone. Thanks, Leggy.
With Zoom, those days are done. The airport stakeouts are a thing of the past.
You're not bribing any maitre d's at the local steakhouses anymore, Leggy.
That's right. Or looking through the window. That was always the all-timer.
What's the big hotel out there now that does all the fancy skating and all that?
The Gaylord?
The Gaylord.
Yeah.
You're not at the Gaylord trying to see who's up for the night? Hoping to get out of town quick?
Yeah, in all 10,000 rooms, I can figure out who's staying there.
Couldn't you see Leggy skate in the skate park or whatever, the ice skating rink, trying to get intel on the Broncos
out there
special teamers?
At the DIA Greenbrier. Leggy, good stuff, man. Thank you. Jeff Legwold, everyone, tolerating us here on a Monday afternoon. We need that special teams coaching dirt.
That's right. Go get dressed up as some Huey the Snow Penguin or something, and you're just in one of those mascot outfits. It's Leggy skating around trying to lay eyes on who they're talking to at the Gaylord.
I think I spotted Seattle's assistant special teams coach over there. What's going on?
You're the first one to spot him. Nobody knows who he is. We were right there. We were so good that we started this goofing around, and
I know
screwed.
There we are. It's Monday. It's Nate and Andy. It's Altitude Sports Radio. Hey, it's Nate Kreckman, and I am here to talk to you about Sport Trade. Just cracked open the app right there and taking a look at this matchup tonight between Ohio State and Notre Dame in the national championship game. If you're just looking to pick a winner, right now, Notre Dame is a 23% probability to be able to win that game. But as Leggy said right there in that conversation, and I'm looking at it on Sport Trade, they get one of those early turnovers, maybe an early Will Howard interception, and Notre Dame able to get a lead by the end of the first quarter. Hey, cash in, buy low, sell high. Watch those odds move up and sell back your bet right there to the fine folks at Sport Trade. That's how it works when you're betting probabilities at Sport Trade. You buy low and you sell high. It's a great way to be able to make some profit. We could have a tight game here in the first half. You could watch Notre Dame's number bump up right there. Sell it off, make your money. GetSportTrade.com. That's where you download the app right now. That's GetSportTrade.com. It is Colorado's newest premium sports betting experience. Use the code NATE in your first week. Get 10% cash back on every bet that you place. Again, that code is NATE. GetSportTrade.com. Download it onto your phone right now before Ohio State and Notre Dame play for a national championship. Sport Trade is regulated by the Colorado Division of Gaming. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
came up short. And like I've been saying all season, every time we in situations like this, turnovers play a factor. Penalties play a factor. Tonight, the turnovers, can't have that, and that's why we lost the game. Because as you can see, we're moving the ball wonderfully. It's hold on to the ball. I'm sorry for my language, but it's annoying. I'm tired of
I think we'll excuse it in this setting, Lamar. It's okay.
Next time, though, get them all out, then apologize.
Fourth time in 8 playoff starts that Lamar's turned the ball over at least 2 times, and those are all losses. And that was the difference. Baltimore, you take a look at those, just like Legwell talked about right there. You look at the team stats at the end of that game, and everything favored the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, but it was the turnovers. That was the difference. Ultimately in that game, it was Lamar throwing an early pick, not seeing Taylor Rapp or making the wrong read. It was him coughing up the ball in the fumble, and then Mark Andrews fumbling the football and then dropping the 2-point conversion. We have got 2 pairs of tickets for Nuggets Sixers tomorrow night at Ball Arena at 8 o'clock. Don't worry, you know Joel Embiid's not there already. We want to give away 1 pair right now. You got to text in the answer to the following trivia question at 303-504-0925, 303-504-0925. Text in the correct answer. You will win 1 pair of tickets for the Nuggets and the Sixers tomorrow night over at Ball Arena. By the way, we're told these are lower level tickets.
The good stuff.
Level, yes. You are that much closer to the action. We got to answer the following trivia question correctly. Andy, Marcus Camby, National Player of the Year at UMass, 1996. Who was Camby's coach at UMass?
Almost said something. I thought, I wonder if that's where he's going. No, I'm glad I didn't.
303-504-0925, 303-504-0925. 1 lucky listener that texts in the answer before the top of the hour. You will win a pair of tickets to tomorrow night's Nuggets Sixers. Again, who was Camby's coach at UMass, National Player of the Year in 1996. He went on to be the number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft. By the way, Andy, can you tell me who was the number 1 pick in the 96 draft?
Cannot.
His future teammate, Allen Iverson.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
Camby went to Toronto, AI number 1 to Philly in that draft. But 303-504-0925, who was Marcus Camby's coach at UMass? Marcus Camby will join us at 5:20. He's the alum of the game tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
For Nuggets and
Hey,
Sixers.
let's go back to that, and I'm sure there's more discussion to be had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy the Bills won for this reason. I think, well, like most of the country, anybody but the Chiefs, please. Not another Chiefs Super Bowl. By the way, the AFC, you got to be embarrassed, man. You got to be embarrassed. 7 straight AFC championships for these guys. You can't keep them out of it. It's ridiculous. That said,
they are so in control of tight games.
I know, man. I know.
It's incredible.
It makes me want to barf. But here's the deal. I think Baltimore is the better team by far. The more physical team, the more dynamic team.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't trust Baltimore in the playoffs. And I'm not going to say Lamar Jackson, because look, Lamar had his early mistakes, but he still had him rolling.
He did.
I cannot get over how Mark Andrew, allowed the fumble, but it happens. How he doesn't catch that pass. They were talking about on Good Morning Football. Do you realize he's caught over 400 passes from Lamar Jackson? That's his dude because he's so reliable. For that guy to, what happened on that 2-point conversion?
He just, to use your word, he barfed it. That was it. He just, I don't know if he slipped. The conditions were not good. But it hit him directly in the gut. You got to catch that thing.
And Lamar.
And he catches it 99 times out of 100.
Well, and the thing was, I was like, all right, did Lamar throw him too soft a pass? No, Lamar threw him what he had to so he wouldn't go out of bounds.
The ball was fine.
You know what I mean?
It was just dropped. He just stonehand that thing.
The other thing I don't understand is, how do you not keep running Derrick Henry like a freight train that whole game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Who is stopping that guy? The colder it got, the colder those players got, that dude ain't fun to tackle.
That third quarter drive, it was like, okay, they're starting to impose their will right there. The thing you got to give Buffalo credit for, though, And hell, we saw it last week too. Once they commit to the run, this is 2 excellent run defenses in a row that James Cook had his way with out there.
Yeah.
And he did it again, man. They ran between the tackles. Cook is during the telecast, Nance and Romo referenced Le'Veon Bell a couple of times. He's the modern day version of it. Hopefully he doesn't urinate his career away the way that Le'Veon Bell did. But man, that he is patient. He waits for that blocking to open up, and then boom, he makes a play right there. If they're going to run the ball like that, they can go to Kansas City and win.
Yeah. I trust them more than I do Baltimore right now because Baltimore just does – some comes over them in the playoffs.
Did you feel any cosmic retribution on the Ravens? Like now that Mark Andrews' name is – you can put him in the same sentence as Raheem Moore of
I like that.
Of
no,
guy
I didn't,
that
but
you can
yeah,
just
I like that.
put on the list of, well, you booted a playoff game, my guy.
I like that. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you also feel that Jim Nance has had enough of working with Tony Romo by the end of that game? I tweeted it out at one point.
By the end of every game that I see those guys call, I feel like Nance is just like, I don't have to see you again for a week and think.
Tony was going off about something towards the latter end of the game, and Jim just started talking. Like, not even acknowledging it, just started talking like I've heard enough. Let's get back to this game. What are you even talking about?
As a broadcaster, I am never afraid to run a joke into the ground. But Romo, I think, made like 4 or 5 consecutive comments about James Cook cooking.
Yeah, Jim. I did catch that part. And then a little bit later.
You tell Nance was like, you done?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know how Nance feels. And then you know how Nance feels. You were just like, back to the game where we got it. I did have a moment where I was like, I wonder if that'd be you and me on a broadcast.
Very much so.
Anyway, there's ball here in the red zone that I'd like to focus on if we could.
I'd be like, no, I got wordplay.
No, I mean, you'd have been. I wish I could remember the exact I mean, Romo was just talking about God knows what. And Nance, it was like Nance wrote a note down, got what he wanted, and just started talking. Mm-hmm. Just made Tony shut up mid-sentence.
It is the Kreckman and Lindahl show, and yes, sometimes we're both a little Tony Romo. That's okay. Marcus Camby coming up 20 minutes after 5 o'clock. You got a couple more minutes to get in. 303-504-0925. Who was Marcus Camby's college coach at UMass? 303-504-0925. We got all the NFL news you can handle coming up next. I don't know if you guys walked outside this weekend, but you probably froze your face off. Well, guess what? I did. Had to go outside and shovel and clean up and do all that good stuff. Then I headed back into the house. Oh, man, I was toasty in no time thanks to my Daikin 2-stage high-efficiency furnace, which was installed by the great team at Apple Air, Denver's HVAC experts that truly care, top-notch heating and cooling service and plumbing for the lowest possible price. That's right. They came out to our house. They got one look at our furnace. They said, get this thing out of here. Beautiful new 2-stage high-efficiency furnace in our home now. And we were as warm as could be this weekend. You can do just the same, and you can save some money because Apple Air is offering you $750 off the purchase of a new high-efficient furnace and AC system. That's right. Same deal that I got. Take advantage of it. Call Apple Air 303-733-2813, 303-733-2813, or visit appleair.com. Oh, before we get to the high five, the 5 biggest stories of the day from around the NFL, Mark Springer. Who was Marcus Camby's coach at UMass?
Well, that would be John Calipari.
That's right. Cal was his coach. In fact, Calipari exited UMass the same year that Marcus Camby exited as well. Calipari, of course, went off to coach the New Jersey Nets, while Marcus Camby was the second overall pick of the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, Cal would eventually return to the college ranks, Memphis and Kentucky and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Who was our ticket winner, Spring?
Ticket winner is Carrie Archie.
Carrie Archie. Archie. Are they bringing Jughead to the game, too? Way to go, Carrie. You have won a pair of tickets for the Nuggets and the Sixers tomorrow night. Let's do it. We got football news right now. We still have another pair of Nuggets tickets to give away this hour on the Crackman and Lindahl show, but let's dive into it. We got movement in the coaching carousel. Let's go, Spring.
It's the High Five. It's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. And yes, today the Chicago Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their next head coach.
Yeah, Bears going with Ben Johnson. Andy, according to Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk, he tweeted out that what he's hearing in league circles, and our guy Florio's got great hair, we know he's tied in, that Ben Johnson is going to get on average $13 million per year to be the coach of the Bears. Last year, it was reported by Josina Anderson, amongst others, that he was asking $15 million per, and that was a part of why he didn't get a head coaching gig last time around at $13 million per. Andy, I believe that would put him as the 8th highest paid coach in the NFL. That would put him below Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Mike Tomlin, Jim Harbaugh, Sean McVay, and Kyle Shanahan. It would put him above John Harbaugh, his old boss Dan Campbell, Sean McDermott, Mike McDonald, and others. But that puts him right there at the very top of the list. One of the most brilliant offensive minds in all of the NFL. Is it just as simple as Leggy said? Chance to coach Caleb Williams too attractive for Ben Johnson?
I think he knew he needed to take a job, too. Didn't you get that vibe? That maybe is why the asking price you laid out there dropped a couple mil.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take a job, dude.
Yeah,
for the last 3 years, you've been the guy, and you've turned everybody down. Sooner or later, they're going to quit asking.
The contending windows don't stay open all that long.
Right.
God, Dan Campbell's postgame the other day, that one just, you felt it.
You
for
did.
That dude right there. Yeah, Ben Johnson, 38 years of age. The Lions offense, 28 points per game this year, best in the NFL, number 1 in total offense, number 1 in touchdowns per drive, number 1 in red zone touchdown percentage. That's what's now going to Chicago, the place where offensive coaches go to die.
Yeah, but you've never had – I still believe a good quarterback lies inside Caleb Williams.
I think so, too.
He's going to have to teach Caleb, get rid of the dang football, man. This is not – and look, as much as I love Shedeur Sanders, he's about to face the same task.
Yep.
This is not the play you want to run.
Yeah.
There's reasons why offensive play callers call what they call and want to get a rhythm going and want to establish moving the chains and all that.
Yeah.
He's got to coach that into Caleb Williams. He's not been doing it. Even in college, he didn't do it.
Yeah, no, it was what he was well known for then. He's got to be repaired, and it's time for Ben Johnson to go get under the hood and inevitably get fired by the Bears in 2 years. Go ahead, Spring.
High five.
All right, hey, what about that Dallas Cowboys head coach opening?
I've eaten a lot of raccoon.
Who's going to coach for Mr. Raccoon Guy? So Deion Sanders was...
By the way, Jerry Jones on this show henceforth will be known as Mr. Raccoon Guy. Continue, Spring.
Deion Sanders, last week was the favorite on sportsbooks, offering odds on the Cowboys' next head coach at even odds. Today on DraftKings Sportsbook, those odds have shifted dramatically. Deion Sanders has fallen considerably down the pack. He now has plus 750 odds to be the next head coach of the Cowboys. Your leader in the clubhouse, according to DraftKings, at minus 250 is current Cowboys offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer.
So that's the answer for the Cowboys? Just keep doing the exact same thing you've been doing the entire time? You could have just kept McCarthy if you wanted to do that.
What happened to Kellen Moore?
Yeah, I don't know. He was also
Brian Schottenheimer
the favorite. Now he stumbles down because Schottenheimer's their OC, I guess.
Listen, though, I thought
keep McCarthy.
I thought to myself, well, ultimately, the word was McCarthy wanted like 5 years and Jerry wanted 3 or something like that.
Because that's all Jerry has.
That's all Jerry has got. He's got to. You know, come on, man. That's morbid.
Sorry.
Don't root for the Bond villain's death.
Sorry.
But hey, whatever. Nah, look, man. Last week, okay, I thought Jerry was doing what he was doing to try to draw attention, and it worked away from the fact that the Eagles and Commanders are playing in the playoffs. Now they're in the championship game. I was like, well, he's got to hire him this week now. What other choice does he have?
Yeah.
Like, he's got to come out today and go, Deion Sanders is the new coach of the Cowboys. ESPN, NFL Network, go!
Break it at halftime of the national title game tonight.
Yeah, sure. Good call. Anything.
Ohio State up by 28. We need anything else to talk about.
Seriously, Nate, where did Brian Schottenheimer come from? I've been reading all this coach stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing about this guy at all.
No.
Was he working somewhere?
He was their OC.
He was their OC?
Yes.
Under McCarthy?
Yes. As I pointed out.
What?
Keep reading the copy.
No. Whatever. They're not hiring him. What happened to Moore? Kellen Moore.
I don't know. He
don't want to wait?
He's busy this week, I guess. I don't know. He's
Whatever.
Getting ready for an NFC Championship game.
Kellen Moore does have the second best odds at plus 250.
Okay, then I got another question for you then. Is there another celebrity coach you could go get? Jason Witten? Now Jason Witten's gone too. What happened to Jason Witten?
I don't know. High school coaching. He's too busy. I have no idea.
Well, no, last week Jason Witten was like a big deal.
He was.
He was going to it was a complete Dan Campbell coached in the league.
Deion was hot
so
last
it was not
week.
1,000% ripoff. But I mean, what are you just going to go grab one of your old tight ends and hire him too?
Tight end you can find.
Yeah. Did Campbell ever play for the Lions, or he just was from Detroit? Right.
He's from Detroit. I don't think he played for the franchise. Yeah.
All right. Is there a Texas guy that played tight end that could just come coach the
There's
Cowboys?
like 1,000 of them.
Right. Half the damn football world played in Texas. Anyway.
By the way, Campbell did play for the Lions his last year.
He did?
He did. His last year in the league, he played for the Lions.
If they hire there's no way they're hiring Schottenheimer. No way.
It'd be a big letdown, given everything we've had. It'd be a pretty big letdown. It would give Dak continuity.
I don't even care about the Cowboys, and I can't believe this.
Go ahead, Spring.
High five.
The Bengals had fired their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, at season's end. The Colts had fired their defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley. Today, the Colts hired Anarumo. He is their new DC.
He's a good coach.
Dude, I can't believe the Bengals let him go.
Yeah, he's a good coach. No, that's...
I kind of... Well,
I know you... He was let go. He was fired for cause. Let's put it that way. Like, he was let go because they were atrocious defensively this season.
With his guys hurt?
But that's...
The guy you ought to fire for cause is Zach Taylor that starts every season 0-3.
This is one of the only guys that can ever figure out how to give Mahomes trouble. He's a good coach.
Yeah, I like Lou Anarumo.
He's going to get wasted at Indianapolis, but that's a good coach. Go ahead, Spring.
High five.
The Ravens were eliminated last evening at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. They got a big old fullback, Patrick Ricard. He talked to the media today. He talked about his quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who could win his third MVP following this season. But Ricard saying today he thinks it's inevitable that Lamar Jackson will win a Super Bowl.
How special he is, and I think this year you're just seeing how he's grown as a player. Just how quickly he's making decisions, just his growth of his reads, the way he throws the ball, the way he decides when to run. It's inevitable. He's going to win a Super Bowl, and I want to be a part of it, and it just sucks that it hasn't happened yet,
Andy, I think he's going to, but you can only pee away so many opportunities where you've got rosters this good around you to get it done.
Dan Marino doesn't have a Super Bowl.
He doesn't.
Look, we could go through the whole list of. Matter of fact, didn't Dan Marino go his second year in the league?
Yeah.
And never got back.
Never got back to a Super Bowl.
Jim Kelly doesn't have a Super Bowl. I mean, we could go on and on and on of really good quarterback. Phillip Rivers doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys don't even get to play in a Super Bowl. You are in the era of Patrick Mahomes. Nothing is inevitable. Nothing.
I mean, there is this. Brady won 7. But in there, Rodgers got 1, and Breeze got 1, and Manning got a couple of them. Like, you eventually do start to have to sprinkle them around a little bit, right?
Well, you
or
tell
are the Chiefs
me.
going to win every damn Super Bowl the rest of our lives?
I don't know. The Chiefs aren't even that great this year,
No.
okay? Other than they are great because they keep winning, but this is not one of their better teams.
No.
This isn't going to be their most fearsome lineup.
They weren't good last year. They won a
Travis
Super Bowl.
Kelce's on the backside of this sucker, man.
And he was
Dude,
open that entire game.
Oh, my... Yeah.
How is he so open?
This is why I'm saying, with the wealth of quarterbacks in the AFC, it is embarrassing that you can't keep the Chiefs from having home field advantage. You can't keep them 7 straight AFC championships. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 7 Final Fours. And finally, Spring.
High five.
The Rams were eliminated in Philadelphia. Matthew Stafford, 36 years old. He's going to turn 37 in just a couple of weeks here in early November. He talked to the media after that loss in Philly and was asked about his future in the NFL.
I'll talk about my present, obviously. Proud to be associated with this group, coaching staff, front office, group of players, training staff, equipment guys, everybody, man. It was a hell of an effort all year to get to this point. Anytime you play like this and get into the playoffs and get a win and keep it moving, it's anytime you come up short, it's even tougher, and so that's difficult. But so proud to be associated with this group, and as far as my future goes, I mean, it's 30 minutes after the last game, so I'll take some time to think about it, but I feel like I was playing some pretty good ball.
You got football left in you?
Sure feels like it.
Okay, I'd heard that cut this morning. I was wanting to ask you.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? They want him back, right?
Yeah.
It's only if he doesn't want to come back, right?
This sort of, I feel like Roethlisberger really dealt with these questions heavily at the end. When these guys get into their upper 30s, the seasons are so long. They're such a grind.
The meetings suck.
They're so burned out. They're in so much physical pain at the end of the year, and they just dealt with a crushing, heartbreaking playoff loss. And then it's just like, what are you going to keep doing? And in that moment, the last thing that those guys can imagine doing, to your point, is just like starting over again. But then you give it time. They start to feel better. They get a little bit of time off, and then it's like, okay, I'm ready to go put myself through it. Oh, by the way, it's another $50 million in the bank account if I go. And they get to that point, but I hate those questions right after the loss because those guys are just drained.
Oh no, I'm with you. It's I did it to Elway one time when I was in college because they let me into a media. Look, he was kind enough to talk to me. He didn't even have to do it. It was like a Thursday. There was no presser. I was just in the locker room. He chatted, and I ended it with, "What are you going to do next year?" Dude, I don't know. I'm trying to get through this year. Don't ask me about next year, kid.
Right.
And it turns on he go get his next 2 Super Bowls. But
yeah.
Look, man, it's
like I got to have surgery now. I got to go do all the things.
But it's so funny that you bring it up that it feels like, because yes, I understand it. It feels like a large climb, and I got to go through all the rigmarole and another camp and blah, blah, blah. But then you get these guys that don't know what to do when September does finally hit. Like, they all retire because I think they're thinking about camp. And then when the regular season shows up, they're like, I really miss this.
Right.
If I could just, and that's what Brett Favre did. Hell, even Elway did a little
Started
of that.
skipping it.
Just let me get rid of camp. Aaron Rodgers was pulling that crap in Green Bay.
He still does it.
Yeah. I
goes
don't
to
want to
Egypt
go through
and
camp.
skipped his OTAs, and everyone got mad at him, and Aaron Rodgers is like, I'm doing I earned it.
I will show up 2 weeks before your first game, and we will go ball.
Yeah. That's what these guys, it is so difficult. This is the part where it's like, okay, divorce yourself from the part where it's like these guys all make, 7 house money for a moment, and just like the humanity of it, like watching Dan Campbell, watching Lamar up there, just seeing how crushed these guys are, listening to Stafford at the age of 36 of like, it is so hard to get there. And it is mentally draining. It is physically draining and anything else. And then the moment it all ends, it's like they're so addicted, the adrenaline of the grind and all of that, and they just don't know what to do with themselves.
I'm telling you, you talk about the climb. I can remember after 2013, just to be a guy that you do it with the team.
Yeah.
You're around the team, and I just was like, we got to go through the draft and got to go through preseason.
Right.
And you got
It's
all
all
these
so
stupid games
far
that
away.
don't matter.
Yeah.
And even the regular season feels a little unnecessary because, again, the Bills been waiting a whole year for this. This next week, that's all that
That's it.
matters.
That's
Proving that you're not going to lose to this guy.
Yep. And
A whole year for that.
And they might lose to that guy.
And they might lose to that guy. That guy.
Quite
By the
frankly-
way, I love Jaden Daniels. I've decided I love watching
He
Jaden
rules.
Daniels. How about that throw where the DB shoved his hand in the helmet of his receiver and it was right on the guy's chest, so he still couldn't miss it.
He is so composed back there. It just he doesn't get bothered. It's just like, oh, okay, I see which DB's blitzing me right now. I got 3-on-2 over there, Terry McLaurin, and boom, he's gone. Like there's just you cannot mess with that dude. He is in control out there. He has so much composure and poise for a rookie quarterback. I can't wait to see what Vic Fangio dials up for him this week. I think this matchup is going to be great. I'm thrilled to watch this game. And I mean, Andy, my Super Bowl pick was Detroit and Baltimore. They're both done. Okay. And it's yet, I think both of these games are fascinating coming up on Sunday. I can't wait. There's
Please
good
don't-
stuff.
Didn't we already get KC Philly?
We have.
Sirianni the first time?
Yeah, we've done that already. Yeah, that was a great Super Bowl,
You know what
too.
I think I've decided? Sorry, all the Josh Allen people around here. I think I
Josh
want
Allen?
Thank you. I want a rookie to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I like Jaden Daniels.
I do too.
Why not?
I do too.
Let's get rid of that little what. It's never happened. Let's let it happen this year. You know why? Means Patrick Mahomes will have another one.
Would have been cooler if it was, the other rookie quarterback in the playoffs, but that's neither here nor there. We have got more Nuggets tickets to give away before the hour is up, plus Marcus Camby. Nuggets legend Marcus Camby joins us next. All right, joining us right now, tomorrow night's alum of the game as the Nuggets get ready to take on the Sixers, the Joel Embiid-less Sixers over there at Ball Arena. He was the number 2 pick in the 1996 NBA draft, 4-time all-defensive team member, 4-time blocks champion, 07 NBA Defensive Player of the Year, played 372 regular season games in a Nuggets uniform. Played for some other teams as well. Oh, by the way, National Player of the Year at UMass in 96. We're joined by Marcus Camby. Marcus, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this with us. First off, Marcus, you're the alum of the game tomorrow night, but tell everybody what you're up to these days.
Right now, I'm just enjoying retirement. I'm raising 3 girls, at the time, and in my other time, I'm just, doing a lot of ambassador work with the NBA. So I'm still keeping busy, even though I'm not playing.
So tell us about that ambassador work. I know, you did so much charitable work in your time here with the Nuggets. You did some stuff with Basketball Without Borders. What are you doing today?
Today I'm just, I'm out here in Denver now, doing this stuff. But, I was just in Abu Dhabi a couple months ago when the Nuggets were out there, playing the Celtics. So I was out there. I was able to see the team out there. I was able to talk to Coach Malone and see DJ. He's one of my best friends. And it's always great to see those guys. It's always great to be around the Nuggets. So.
It's funny, Marcus. We were talking a couple weeks ago about how you were one of our favorite guys to have around here. Can you just talk about some of your favorite memories from the time when you were here? It was quite a wild time because Melo showed up, the Iverson thing happened.
Yeah,
shows up. What do you remember about your time with the Nuggets?
Oh man, we had some great times and some great teams, and some great players that I had a chance to play with. The Melo era here was definitely exciting when we was able to get that pick, and he brought this organization to great heights. And in a couple years in, we was able, to get Iverson here. And when Iverson and Melo, I think those guys were an exciting duo that we had on this team. As a whole, we didn't get it done. We had a lot of great teams on paper. We were never able to get out of the first round per se. A lot of those years, because in the Western Conference during that time, the Lakers was dominating, the Spurs was dominating, the Timberwolves, had a nice run at it. So we was never able to give it a hump to get into that championship or advance in the later rounds. But the relationships that we had on those teams and the players that I had are definitely lifelong brothers of mine. And, anytime I get a chance to see and talk to those guys, we always bring up these fond memories that we had together here in Denver.
Marcus, we always talk about from 03 to 04, the jump from 17 wins to 43 wins, and you guys get into the postseason and get to go play Garnett and Minnesota. You arrived in Denver. You were traded here 1 year before Carmelo arrived. So you were a part of that transition. What was that like going from, being a lottery team to being a playoff team every single year, but also just sort of going from being an NBA afterthought to suddenly, you guys were national television all the time. Like the Denver Nuggets were big time during that era.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. My first year here, we had a lot of rookies on that team. I know we had Nene. Nene ended up being a pretty good player, but we had a lot of new guys that was put together. And I was kind of experienced with that a little bit because when I got drafted by the Toronto Raptors, which was the second year of existence. So I knew about starting from the bottom and grinding. And then I got traded to New York when I got to see what a real organization was with great players and great talent and great expectations. And coming back here to Denver, it was tough that first year. But that second year when I got here, when Carmelo got here, things turned around. We added Kmart. Nene had another year under his belt. We had a great underrated point guard in Andre Miller, who I think never really gets his just due. I think he's a terrific basketball player. And we was able to take off from there. But it was definitely tough in the beginning, but it definitely ended great.
You mentioned Andre right there, and a guy that maybe doesn't get his due. You guys connected on so many lobs. Andre Miller, George Karl talks about Andre Miller, says he's one of the top 10 point guards of all time in the NBA. You just kind of echoed that same sentiment. Why was Andre Miller so good, and why did you guys, especially you in the interior, why did you love playing with him?
Well, Andre was definitely a unique point guard. He was a point guard first. He was all about the team. If you got Andre to talk, you were lucky. So we was able to get him to talk out there in the basketball court, and he made everybody better. That was his job, and that's the job of being a leader on the team. That's the job of being a point guard, and he pretty much let his play speak for him. So he's a tremendous asset to this team, to this organization. I see him. I think he's coaching the G League team. Of the Nuggets, the affiliate. So I was able to see him probably about last year and got a chance to chop it up with him a little bit. And I'm happy. I'm happy he's in that role. I'm happy that the Nuggets brought him into the fold because he's family.
I am curious. I remember one time, all the drama was around Melo getting traded. And I remember you said Melo should have a say. You were just doing a group media session. Melo should have a say who's on this team. This is his team. And at the time, it kind of took me back. I always felt like it was your team from the start. Like, it felt like maybe you handed it off to Melo there because you were the guy that was around here for quite a while, it seemed. I don't know, maybe it wasn't that long, but it felt like you were always there when we went into interviewing you and stuff. Did you ever feel like this was your team for a period there?
Well, not really. I just think at that time I was probably the oldest player that we had on the team, so I was the most experienced. I was the veteran. I knew the way and the lay of the land in an NBA, and I knew what it was to be a professional. And I mean, everybody knew it was Melo's team. He was our best player, and when he had it going, we all had it going. And he was the one who really led us to that playoff push that we had his first year here, and ever since then he has been going on and on with his career. So a lot of respect for him. He's a great Nugget. I didn't like how things ended at the end, but that was the path that he chose, and I just hope that he'd be remembered for the great times that he had and what he put on the Denver Nuggets uniform.
I remember at the time, you had some quotes too. You were pretty frustrated when you were traded to the Clippers in 2008. Now with 17 years of hindsight and the ability to look back on it, how do you feel about that now and the way that your time in Denver wound up?
Well, nobody wants to be traded. I mean, everybody wants to feel wanted and want to be in a place, especially a place that I've been here for 6 years. I had my daughter that was born here. I put a lot, not just onto the court, but also into the community. I was very active in that aspect of it, me and my family. And, being traded is a big adjustment for anybody. I didn't want to be away from the guys, and I wanted to be around here for, I was here when, 03, how the 03 season was. I was there from the beginning, and then those guys went on to make it to the Western Conference Finals. They had a great team. They had a great run there. But looking back, just understanding that the NBA is a business and things are going to happen. And everybody's happy the way things played out.
I'm kind of curious about how they play now. And do you like the way they play now? And did you ever think, Marcus, I'll be honest with you, I'm a Denver native. I never thought we'd see an NBA championship here. I'd lived through Mutombo and Rodgers and Jalen Rose and all these really cool headline names that would show up for a bit and then leave. And it just felt like it wasn't in the cards. Are you surprised that they were able to get the championship done?
Definitely not surprised when you consider that the roster that they had and the players that they had on the team. Jamal Murray was playing great. Jokic, of course, he's a Hall of Fame player if he stops playing in the NBA right now. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Coach Mike Malone. Mikey is the guy I've known pretty much almost half his life. His father, Brendan, was an assistant coach of mine with the Denver Nuggets. And, he was real close to me. I'm real close to Miss Maureen, Mike's mom. So those are like my family. So when I see Mikey going out there excelling, I'm just so excited for him because I know the journey and the path that he had to get to where he was at today. So I'm always going to root for Mike Malone.
Marcus Camby is our guest. Tomorrow night, he'll be the alum of the game out of Ball Arena. Nuggets will take on the Sixers. You were Defensive Player of the Year that 06-07 season. You were consistently a shot blocks leader, one of the leading rebounders in all of the NBA. I recently saw a list. It was 20 NBA greats that never made an all-star team, and your name was on there. You were just a dude that, man, you went out and did your job every single night. You patrolled the paint. You protected the rim. When you think back on your career and really your role and your job on those teams, how do you describe it?
Going into each season and each game, I just always wanted to be held accountable of what I can bring to the ball club. The individual accolades doesn't really matter to me. I was consensus college basketball player of the year. I won defensive player of the year and stuff like that, but I never won a championship. So I was always, even in college, I made it all the way to the Final Four and didn't win a championship. So I've always been a team first guy. And I think, that's why I've been, I think, respected by the NBA community, especially my peers and my teammates. So anytime I get to see those guys and they tell me that, it was a pleasure for them to play with me, that's the joy you can only ask for, I put so much into this game and just the benefits of, the peers reaching out to you, saying that they respected your game, they appreciated things, the little things that I do that don't go on the stat sheets. That's what it's all about. And when I hear that stuff, that makes everything fulfilling.
You're 13th all-time NBA history in block shots. Tell us about the art of the rim protection, of flying in from the weak side and just getting that weak sauce out of there. You're one of the all-time great shot blockers in NBA history. Tell us, what were the keys to doing that job every night?
Well, the keys for me was, I watched film and I studied. If we were playing against Garnett or Tim Duncan or any of those top guys, and I was the night before, 2 nights before, I was watching film. I had my league pass. I was watching their games and just trying to get any advantage that you can have on these great players. You got to take advantage of it because, those are all role players that I was talking about, Hall of Famers, those type of guys. So, anytime I got a chance to study, put in the film work, and also I wanted to be held accountable for what I can bring to the team. Like I said before, that my teammates know that if they got beat, that they knew that, hey, Marcus is back there. He's going to block the shot. He's going to alter the shot or get the rebound, and we're going to go all the way with the basketball. So that was my mindset every game going in.
All right, this is the last one for me. We miss seeing you around here, man. You made the job easy. You were professional, and I thought you were fun to watch while you were here. If you had one team that you could have a reunion with from the Nugget years, which team would it be? Which one team would you like to get the guys back together?
That's a good question right there. We had some great teams, and a lot of those players overlapped on certain years. But probably the first when we went to the playoffs, 2004, when we played Minnesota, we had a great team. I think Coach Bizdelic was coaching then at that time, I think. Yeah, so and we were stacked. We were myself, Carmelo, Nene, Andre, Earl Boykins. So we had a team, I haven't had a chance to see all of those guys throughout the years, but I've been seeing the main guys throughout the years. So it's always great to see former teammates that you play with, especially during my time here in Denver.
Were you guys did you guys pride yourselves on toughness? Because between yourself and Nene and Kenyon, man, you dudes you played with a physicality every single night. How much pride did you take in that part of the game?
Well, we had to play physical basketball during that time. So, like you said, Kenyon and Nene and myself, we had to do all the dirty work, so Melo and JR and those guys can put the ball in the hole for us. So we had a nice balance there. Everyone pretty much knew their role. They knew who the leaders was, who was the go-to guys, who was the bucket scorers on the team. And, us guys as role players, we had to, do all the dirty work that goes unseen a lot of times. So, and we took a lot of pride in that. And I think that would pretty much made us win a lot of ball games.
All right, last thing, Marcus. Big man to big man. Tell us what you love about Jokic.
Man, I'd be here all day. So many superlatives and adjectives I can talk about with him, but just the way he approaches the ball game. It doesn't seem like he takes everything serious, which is great when there's so much pressure in these NBA ball games, and he just goes out there and just does it. He goes out there and does it with a dad bod. He doesn't have he has a 3-inch vertical. When you look up at the end of the score sheet, there's 35 points, 18 rebounds, 14 assists, and he's dominating the game. The Nuggets are winning the championship. So he's a terrific ball player, probably the best center that the Nuggets have ever had, and he's definitely a Hall of Famer, and I'm definitely a big fan.
Well, don't worry, Marcus. You're still right there at that top of the list. One of the all-time great big men in Denver Nuggets history. Tomorrow night, alum of the game, Nuggets take on the Sixers over at Ball Arena. The 07 NBA Defensive Player of the Year, all-time great Nugget, Marcus Camby. Marcus, thank you so much for the time today. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That was awesome. Marcus Camby rules. And he's going to be the alum of the game tomorrow night. You can be there as well. We have got one more pair of tickets for Nuggets Sixers tomorrow night at Ball Arena. We will tell you how you can win that when we return on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. All right, we promise one more pair of tickets for tomorrow night's Nuggets-Sixers game. No Joel Embiid. And I know that's not breaking news. Shouldn't stun anybody. He hadn't played here since, 2018?
6 years this will make, I believe.
That's what we're looking at now? Yeah, the Duck ain't got... Granted, he's only played 13 games so far this season. But we have got one more pair of tickets to give away to that game, and we want to ask another Marcus Camby-related trivia question. Andy, I like this one. Here you go. You ready for this? Camby's last year in Denver, 07-08. It was the year after he won Defensive Player of the Year. He was second, actually, in Defensive Player of the Year voting that season in 07-08. He averaged 13 rebounds per game that season, 13.1 rebounds per game, and yet he did not win the NBA rebounding crown in 07-08. Who led the NBA in rebounds per game 07-08 season? 303-504-0925. Text your answer in 303-504-0925. One lucky listener with the correct answer to that trivia question will win a pair of tickets for the Nuggets-Sixers game tomorrow night. Who won the NBA's rebounding title in the 07-08 season? Marcus Camby was second, 13.1 total rebounds per game. Who was number one? Can you imagine that, averaging 13 a game and then not getting it?
Yeah, that'd stink.
That'd be annoying. Yeah. He never won a rebounding title in his career, even though he was a career 10-rebound-a-game guy. He never got a rebounding title. Text your answer in 303-504-0925. One listener that gets the answer correct will be randomly drawn and will win a pair of tickets for tomorrow night.
Key phrasing there. It's not about being first.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't Talladega Nights. If you're 1st not first, you're last. We're going to randomize it and spit a name out.
Nuggets had a good weekend. Yesterday, took care of the Magic. Great win on Friday night against the Heat. But yesterday, that was a perfect Nuggets game. Andy Joker went 20-14-10, did not play a second of the fourth quarter. You got a good shooting night out of MPJ. He went for 15. CB scored 20, putting up big numbers, going up against his old buddy KCP. Definitely justifying his spot in the starting five. Jamal had a bad three-point shooting night, but he was 7 of 10 inside the arc. Scored 19. That third quarter, God, it was a thing of beauty. Third quarter, I was way more interested. I had a two-screen experience. I was way more interested in the Nuggets in that third quarter because they won at 39-25 yesterday. They shot 64% in the quarter. They had 11 assists on 14 made field goals. The ball was absolutely popping. Jamal and MPJ both scored 10 in the quarter. Joker had 7 assists. It was incredible. Basically, perfect game outside of the Peyton Watson head injury, which we hope he's going to be okay. That looked bad. It looked like it hurt.
Yeah, Malone did say he was worried about him after the game.
Yeah, that head snapped back. I mean, he went airborne to block Cole Anthony and came down pretty hard. So hopefully Peyton Watson is going to be okay.
Do you like the second unit that they put together with Aaron Gordon and Jamal out there?
Yeah.
DJ playing some center.
With AG, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who else did we have out there?
Good little lineup out there. Peyton Watson and Julian Straw that rounded out that five yesterday.
Who went in there for Peyton? I'm trying to remember last night.
When he left, I think that was when Porter came back.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Porter played a lot of that fourth quarter yesterday. Even though they had the game well in hand, the good thing was Jokic never had to get up.
No.
That's the win in that game. I think he finished with right at 30 minutes, which is exactly where he needs to be. I know the Magic are super banged up. They're missing both Wagners and Suggs right now, but still, like that third quarter, it's like if you guys play like that consistently, where the ball moves, you get stops, you push tempo, you play with that kind of pace, you can do it. And really, Andy, like with everything that's happened in this season, we wake up today, 4 seed in the West. They're currently on a 51-win pace, 7th best record in the NBA. They're 10-3 overall in their last 13. On nights when Jokic has played, they've won 6 in a row and 9 of their last 10. And their next 9 opponents, here's their next 9. Tomorrow, home against Philly, no Embiid, and Philly stinks. Thursday, you play Sacramento. They're a smidge over 500. Saturday, you're in Minnesota. They're a smidge over 500. Monday, you go to Chicago. You play the Bulls. They stink. You got to go play the Knicks in New York on Wednesday. Tough game. Good team. At Philly on that Friday. At Charlotte after that. Brandon Miller's out. And then you got back-to-back home games against New Orleans. Now, they've been better with Zion, but also those games are 2 weeks away. Zion could very well be gone and be out again by then. So, like, you look at those next 9 games, 8-1? Is 8-1 too much to ask for? I want to ask for 8-1 over the next 9. I think they can do it.
I think you need one. Looking at the standings right now, they're still occupying 4th.
Yeah.
You know, they got to make up some ground on Memphis.
They're in good shape right now.
They're
not in great shape, but they're in good shape.
Yeah, but get this. You're 2 off the Rockets. You're 2 off the Grizzlies. Now you're 9 back of the Thunder. Probably no catching them.
There's no catching them.
How about Minnesota down at 22-21?
I know, right?
The 9th spot right now.
Yeah, wild.
What are you making of that?
Wild.
Should they not have made the trade they made?
No, I don't think that they should have.
The old Karl Anthony Towns thing. Every time I see a highlight, it feels like Ant is frustrated.
They lost again today, by the way. They had an MLK matinee today like the Avalanche did, and they lost on the road at Memphis. And had 32, but they fall again. Like, I've said it before, the key for the Nuggets is get the 2 seed.
Yeah.
Get the 2 seed and avoid OKC as long as you can and hope that maybe somebody can do your bidding and do some dirty work and get them knocked out, or in the very least, stretch them to the point where you get maybe a slightly weakened version of the Thunder by the time you get to the Western Conference Finals. But that's what this team needs to do.
Well, a good 8-1 stretch would put you right back in the conversation of probably getting that 2 seed.
Perfect.
Again, just 2 games out.
I can live with that. Yeah, that all
and
sounds good.
you know what? Right now, doing the quick math, which is always dangerous, but doing the quick math, Nuggets and Rockets have played the same amount of games.
All right, we are underway in the national title game. Notre Dame with the football opening possession, and not surprisingly, the game didn't kick off right at 5:30.
They lied to you.
They always do. Mark Springer on the other side of the glass. Who won the 07-08 NBA rebounding crown?
Well, that would be Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard.
What are you doing?
Average.
You're not doing anything out there.
14 boards a game that season. That was Orlando, Dwight Howard. That was the good version of Dwight Howard right there. Marcus Camby was second in the NBA in rebounding that year. Spring, who is our lucky winner of a pair of tickets for tomorrow night's Nuggets-Sixers game?
Doug Bronson.
Dougie
Bronson.
Can we call you Dougie?
Doug Bronson. How about some cookies? No dice. This ain't over. All right, that's going to do it for us.
You got your Girl Scout cookies yet, by the way?
I have not, no.
You going to get any?
I'll pick up a thing of Thin Mints and get to them.
They keep raising the damn price there, Kreckman. About had enough.
I hear that's happening.
I ain't getting any more. I ain't getting any more than you gave me a year ago, but it's $1 more a box. I'm about had it with you. You're really testing my addiction there, Girl Scouts of America.
Do the girls get better activities with the increased prices?
Yeah. Do they get a more bougie camp set up?
I hope so.
My daughter used to go to a pretty fancy little camp thing they had in the spring.
Did they get to go glamping now? That'd be a lot more fun.
Hey, I quit because of the camping. My son one time was like, "Dad, I like Boy Scouts, but I don't like having to I don't like having to camp and I don't want to hike." And I go, "That's the Scouts. Let's get you out of this."
Well, besides that, there's bird houses, and I don't know what else you get to do.
I really like Florida except for the heat and the humidity. Well, you probably ought to move.
That's going to do it for us here this afternoon. Congratulations to Bronson. Going to the game tomorrow night, Nuggets and Sixers. Thanks again to Marcus Camby. Thanks again to Jeff Legwold. We are back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We look forward to talking to you then. Brett Kane tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Drive safely, everybody. We'll see you.